right, how you doing, everybody? Welcome to my channel, YouTube Squad. I love it. Somebody gave me that idea to call you guys YouTube Squad and to refer to all of us as YouTube Squad. So I'm gonna start using it until I get used to saying it, because that was a good idea. This is the VH1 Family Reunion Love and Hip Hop Edition, Season 1, Episode 5, Holy Hell. Somebody down in my comments, in Married to Medicine comments, which you guys should go and check out, said that I stopped doing Love and Hip Hop, but I'm still catching up. Hell, I haven't done Married at First Sight. I haven't done Love After Lockup. I haven't done Real Housewives of Atlanta, child. I got 2 jobs. In addition to making these videos, I'm planning a wedding. I'm trying to keep up, but it seems like by the time I get around to doing the videos, it's already too late. But tell me if it's still too late to do Love After Lockup, Married at First Sight, or Real Housewives of Atlanta did it yesterday. If it's not too late, I'm gonna working 2 of them tomorrow. I'm gonna do Real Housewives of Atlanta and Married at First Sight tomorrow, and then maybe I can catch up on Love After Lockup on Wednesday, along with me doing Basketball Wives tomorrow as well. But hell, I will say that this family reunion, Love and Hip Hop VH1, I prefer a lot of the stuff they're doing this season as opposed to somebody worried about who's sleeping with who's cheating on who's doing what with all this damn reality TV show mess. They seem to be talking about real shit in this series, in this season, in this reunion, and I appreciate that. So we start off with Scrappy deciding to lead the spiritual Bible study session. I'm thinking, boy, I know that everybody's a sinner, but your sin being is like, if mine is this is here, yours is all the way over here, because from what I understand, you have a child with somebody and you're still not able to communicate with them until after that woman went and talked to Bambi. You were behaving very immature. Somebody like you that behaves like an immature person should not be up there trying to give people spiritual advice. I think that you need to pray and request some spiritual advice from the Most High. I understand that he said his father's a preacher, and I'm thinking, how the hell did Mama D score a preacher when he said later on in the show that he used to be at a crack house? Not judgmental, just saying, because to me, it seems like a woman in a crack house is a different profession than a man in a podium in a church. Those are 2 vastly different career paths. How y'all ran into each other, I don't know, but that was something I did think about. So Scrappy is on here talking about his spiritual Bible study session after the block party that apparently happened last episode. Everybody's tipsy, drunk, trying to recover from their little, hangovers. Jock is then passed out in the corner. He's not even paying attention. He's literally sleeping in midair. I don't know how he was able to prop himself up the way that he did. But what's her name? Trina's cousin, Joy, one of the confessionals said, child, God says, come as you are, drunk and all. I said, well, hell, that's what he did say. So go ahead and drunk and listen to this man talk and talk and talk. But after he's done doing that, we had the testimonies begin. And this is the part that I think got me. Because Paris got up and said that somebody tried to break her spirit. I don't know if she was referring to K. Michelle, because I remember K. Michelle calling her a hefty ass thief because of that whole Uber driver situation where she felt like Paris stole from her, which technically if Paris used her card to use an Uber without her permission, by definition that is stealing. However, Paris also tells her side of the story as, we have done this multiple times before. I'm your friend. We've done this type of stuff before. So it's not something new. So I thought you'd be okay with it. And if you wanted it back, I would have paid you back. Either way, K. Michelle came and put her on blast. And I don't see Paris as a thief. I don't see Paris as a bad-spirited individual every time I see her on TV. So it's hard for me to think that she just walk around stealing from people. But she said that somebody tried to break her. I don't know if she's referring to K. Michelle, but I just assumed that was the case. And she found her way, and she looks good. She lost some weight. She got her weave done, her makeup done. Paris is absolutely beautiful in my eyes. And that is law to me on this channel. Now, testimony begins, or like I said, continues, and Mama D gets up and starts singing. Mama D reminded me of that lady. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie First Sunday. That old lady that got up and was like, Jesus, like all the way they're singing and they get off key. But to them, they're really thinking like they're Whitney Houston up there, because Mama D was singing tipsy and all, off key and all. Everybody was laughing, just I surrender, like getting into it, like she's really doing something. And I just couldn't stop laughing. Mama D cracks me up, and I think that her personality is what has kept her on this show the whole time, because half the time she don't have a storyline but try to go ahead and pick up something from what Scrappy's doing and be messy as hell. But that shit was funny. Then we have Mendici doing his testimony, and when Mendici did that, I said, Mendici got up there and he told a story saying that he got out of prison and he believed God put him in prison for a reason. And he also says that he doesn't have any realistic role model, and that kind of hit home for me. Y'all know I talk about my personal life whenever I talk about these reviews or talk about certain scenarios that comes up on TV when I watch the shows. And I said that sometimes I speak because I can relate. Now, my husband has a record as well, as beautiful as he is. And in his story, he tells me things like, I grew up seeing pimps. I grew up seeing crackheads. I grew up watching pimps. I was maybe 12 years old, around 27-year-old dudes doing all the things. I grew up about people that were doing, smoking all kinds of drugs. I don't even want to tell you the list of all the things that he has seen. He had no realistic role model. His mother wasn't like a woman that was on the street or doing all the wrong things. She was working. She's a nurse, but she came here as an immigrant. And so she didn't have some of the opportunities that some people who live here have. And she had 4 kids and a man who wasn't around, who left her, divorced her, and never came around. And so she had to sit there and figure out how to feed 4 kids as CNA, working around the clock. And because she was trying to figure out how to feed them, she wasn't as present as most parents are supposed to be when you have 2 children, when you have 4 children. And so because of that, children aren't supposed to raise themselves. And like Mendici said, he went out in the streets and the streets basically raised him. He said that some days he didn't have food. When my husband told me his story, he said sometimes he didn't even see his mama for 3 months. And she wouldn't even know he was not even in the house. And I used to sit there and wonder how my 13-year-old husband is out there trying to fight, square up with like a grown whole ass man, and he'll win that fight too. And it's like, when it comes time for him, my husband meaning, to go and address those things with his mom and his family, they're not very receptive. It's like they get defensive and they feel the need to defend themselves, like they're on the hot seat like that. You need to understand something. No parent is perfect. That is a guaranteed fact. But your child's experience is their own and you cannot take it away from them. You have to acknowledge what they felt as children, what they saw. Now, people might say, well, children don't understand if children don't see things the right way. You're right. Children may not understand fully what the situation is, but they don't forget how they feel. If I get up every morning for months at a time, my mama ain't there, my father's not there, I'm out here eating butter and sugar like Erica Dixon said that she was doing, and Mendici's out here talking about how at 6 years old people were handing him some drugs to go run. Where are your parents? These children aren't supposed to be raising themselves. Judy got up and she disappointed the hell out of me. She got up, and that's after she tried to kind of make him uncomfortable for saying what he said. He said, some days I didn't eat. She said, why is that? When he said that he was hungry, she said something like, what was your grandma? Okay, I don't know if she feels like that's a legitimate defense. Where was your grandma? Your grandma, his grandma is not the person who birthed him. Let's be real. His grandmother is supposed to be enjoying him as her grandson. She's not supposed to be responsible for taking care of a child you chose to create on your own. You chose to push out, you chose to have. That became your responsibility. Hence the reason why you have the title mother. You're the one supposed to be nurturing him, not his grandma, not his cousin, not his tooth fairy, not Santa Claus, not any figment of his imagination. You are the parent. So that defense is bullshit. Now, I don't want to cut somebody's mama out because I just think that you're too old for me to do that. But in this situation, respectfully, shut the fuck up and hear what your son has to say. Because I know it hurts. I know it's hard to hear that. I know it's hard to hear that in a group of people because you felt embarrassed. And I know that some people might say, well, I'm just judging her. I'm not judging her. I'm speaking facts. Because if I had a child, and God forbid I had an addiction, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, or whether I had a mental illness, or whether something, I chose to bring this child into this world. So I'm choosing to be responsible for this child, which means I'm choosing to do whatever is necessary for this child. It's no longer about me. It's for this baby that I have brought into this world. So if I'm not there, if I'm not feeding them, if I'm not being there to nurture them, it becomes my fault. Now, for whatever noble reason I might think that, I was sick, I was young, I had a baby, that don't matter. You are the ones who fucked and had sex. Yes, you were young, but you were having sex. So if you were doing adult things, you're gonna have to deal with adult responsibilities. That's just what it is. It's facts of life. Now that this grown man is saying that some of the things that he experienced in life resulted in what he's dealing with right now, you need to help him heal. If you really want to be a parent, you need to help him heal, not be on the defense and complain and act like he's not supposed to feel the way that he feels. This was very disappointing when she said that. And I just kind of flashed back and thought about my husband because this is what he's still dealing with today. Sometimes it's what I deal with today with my parents. When I try to tell them this is what you did and they don't want to accept it. They just want to make excuses for it or act like what they did made sense to them. No, wrong is wrong and right is right. Just acknowledge it. Let the person be able to heal so they can move on and maybe end any generational curses that might come from this. Then we had Judy getting up, trying to defend herself, And then what's her name? Yandy gets up and interjects, and Yandy says something like, you know, it's not about you, it's about him trying to make Judy feel better for herself. And I'm thinking, Yandy, this is not your place to stand up. I know Yandy is Medice's wife, and she's supposed to protect her husband, but I don't think that it's appropriate for her to speak. If my husband is addressing his mother about what issues that he experienced with her growing up, I was not present during those years. And this is his struggle to deal with. This is his burden to release. This is his cross to bear. I can support him privately, hear what he has to say, have him vent to me, and be loving and caring. But when he speaks to his mother about his experience, I don't want to be the person that gets up and gets in his mama's face and act like I'm trying to defend my husband, but I'm also inserting myself in an experience that really doesn't involve me. Because I know that my mother-in-law would take it as she's been ganged up on, regardless of whatever's coming up in my mouth. So I don't think that Yandy was right in even getting up in this first place. I could be wrong. Y'all may see it differently, but that's how I perceived it. Then Sierra tells her little affirmation about how she had to give up her daughter when she was homeless for a year to somebody else to raise, and that's something that she had to deal with. At least Sierra is acknowledging her shortcomings and say, hey, this is what I felt I needed to do, you know, and this is what I did. Now, it reminded me of Black and Crew, was it Sky and her two sons, and when they're trying to tell her how they felt and what she did when she went through when she gave them up. And Sky, as much as I know that she's doing everything she can within herself to try and so-called get, you know, mend things with them. I remember seeing a video clip when I think it was her youngest son. I don't know if y'all remember what I'm talking about. Sky and him got into an argument, and Sky basically told him that he was supposed to be aborted. She didn't want him. Nobody wants him. She broke him down. And I'm thinking, if you're going to want to be a parent in these people's lives, you have to be able to hear what they have to say. Regardless of how you feel, listen to them. Accept it. Don't defend it. You thought you were doing whatever the hell you were doing, but this is their experience. Acknowledge it if you really want to be a parent. Soak it up, take responsibility, and give them time to heal. That's how it works. Now, Scrappy goes up to Erica and decides that he wants to have a conversation with her finally, unlike the way that he was behaving in the first couple episodes of the first episode, and he was being a dumbass and a childish person. And Scrappy basically says that, you know, they should be able to talk. And Young Jock said what I was saying. Hell, Imani's almost as old as Scrappy. She's 16, going an adult. If y'all can't sit there and have a decent conversation without it being hostile, y'all both need to grow up. And for me, it feels like it's Scrappy that's basically trying to have this bad energy with Erica because he feels in his spirit it may make Bambi happy. I believe that that's the reason why Scrappy behaves the way that he behaved, because it seems that when Bambi and Scrappy had separated, it seemed like Scrappy and Erica were on a better footing. But then when Bambi came into this picture, Scrappy may have gotten the impression that if he was an asshole to Erica, it will make Bambi feel better. Now that Bambi has opened up communication and start talking to Erica, Scrappy's like, okay, well, now that they're talking, I don't want to be in the doghouse. I'm gonna go mend things. The priority is supposed to be Imani, not Bambi. And I feel like that's how Scrappy's ass was moving up until this moment. And he might still move that way in the future, who knows? But I'm happy they were able to talk it out as they're talking. Of course, Bambi comes and talks and joins it because she don't want her husband talking to his ex. Every time they show Erica's face in the picture, she is so beautiful. Erica Dixon is by far one of the most naturally beautiful individuals I have ever seen in my life. She is gorgeous, and no lies were told when I said that, just so we're clear. Then we had Judy. We had Yandy going to meet up with Erica privately out in a different scene. And then we had Judy in the same breath going over to Mendices to talk to him privately. And she decides that she was basically going to go and hostile to Mendici and act like Mendici is not supposed to say what he said because she's his mom. I loved how Mendici stood his ground and told his mom that, why are you bringing up? She was bringing up some dude that she was with for 10 years that they called daddy that just left and wasn't there. Judy was saying things like, well, I was 16, 17, maybe I partied too long away, but where was your sister? Where was your aunt? Where was your grandma? Judy needs to, as old as she is and as old as she claims to be, this was a very immature way to handle the situation. This is not about your feelings, boo. I know that you feel defensive. I know that you feel like you've been disrespected. I know that you feel like your troubles have been put up on Front Street. But she said something like, it's my story. It's what's my story. No, Mendici is part of your story. He's your son. So he has his own story to tell that happens to have you involved. Like, it's almost like she was trying to gaslight, and that is the right word to say. She was trying to gaslight Mendeecees, make him feel like what he said was wrong when he was speaking his truth and try to let something off his chest. And as he was having a hard time talking about this, he's thinking he's going to get yelled at by his mom. You can see producers saying, let him speak, let him speak. And she wasn't trying to do it because she didn't want to be embarrassed. So he said, I can't do this. He got up and left. In the other scene, we got Yandy talking to Erica, and Erica talks about how she had to eat butter and sugar, like I said, because her mom was, you know, a drug addict. From what we understand, I think Erica's mom was a crackhead at some point. And then Yandy talks about how Mendeecees has a lot of fears from his childhood because he won't let her daughter go to sleep over. Child, I'm not letting my daughter sleep at anybody's house unless it's my family member. Even then, I'll be cautious because of what I experienced in life. Some people do not have the same concern or consideration for your child like you would. I've been in so many situations that could have been avoided that are just, if I didn't have Most High on my back, I would have probably been either killed or hurt or really taken advantage of in ways that are just unimaginable. Being that I've experienced those things as a parent, I'm sure some of y'all can relate as parents. Are you gonna put your child, you just don't wanna even have your child in situations where you think something might happen. And when Mendeecees saying that he has somebody peddling drugs in his face at 6 years old, do you think that he's gonna have his daughter out there when he knows how people really are? Like, no, I wouldn't do that. I understand where he's coming from, and I understand his fears as well. Then Yandy also breaks down talking about how Judy treats her. And I'm like, in the previous seasons when we see Yandy going off on the other Erica and Asim's mom and, you know, Lil Mendeecees' mom, I'm kind of in shock because Judy was always there to have Yandy's back. Was it all for a show because it's a reality TV show? Y'all wanted to, you know, keep up this front. But now Yandy's telling that she don't do nothing to Mendeecees' mom. Mendeecees' mom picks at her. Here's the thing. Mendeecees' mom feels threatened by Yandy's experience. Yandy's present in her son's life. Because why do I say that? Because when you were not a good mother or a good present parent, and you get older and you mature and you're guilty about something, you might want to fix that relationship with your child. But now your child is no longer a child. He's an adult. He has a whole family. So his priority is going to be his wife and his kids. Now you're ready to have a relationship with him and he's in a relationship with somebody else. So you're going to have to take the second back seat. Not that he's going to have to ignore his mom, but his wife and his children come first in his family. Mom, you're on the side. Because this is what, I'm a man, I'm supposed to protect my family. This is what it is. This is my new household. And I feel like Judy feels like because Yandy is present, she's a threat because she takes that role. Now, I don't know what, you know, Yandy does a lot of fake shit sometimes. She says a lot of messy shit sometimes, and she always acts like she don't know what she's doing. So there might be some other things that are in the, you know, in the back that we don't see, that are things that happen that we're not there to experience. But in the scenes that I have seen now, aside from Yandy inserted herself in that situation, I haven't seen that something is major enough to why Judy would just not like Yandy, because it seemed like in previous seasons they were thick as thieves, protecting each other, defending each other, fighting on stage, going after Lil Mendeecees' mom. I mean, it was crazy. Now we had Trick going on a fake workout with April, and Trick is highly sexist. I'm not gonna lie. He is highly sexist. Maybe he's old-fashioned, but whatever the hell comes out of his mouth is like, it's very sexist. When it comes to females, he thinks you should be barefoot, pregnant, looking cute in the house, thinking that all you guys do is sit up there and make babies. You have no worth other than that. Trick is crazy. But he had the right one with April. April did go, you know, try to work out with him, saying that she wanted to see how his body reacts as a man. And Trick said, the way that my body is set up, I can't be doing this. And the way that he was trying to do that workout, I can't. He was just watching April sit there and squat. Then April brings up that a lot of things that Trick has said has been offensive to some of the women that are out here. And Trick tells April, well, I don't think that you respect yourself. April says, I absolutely respect myself. I'm a mom, I work, you know, and stuff like that. I'm a provider, you know, and some of you men don't even do that. And I'm like, April, if Trick said you don't respect yourself to anybody else, then I would be like, he's crazy. But from what we have seen with the Fizz situation, with the Omarion situation, and now with the potential Dre situation when he's still going through a divorce, you do come off like you don't respect yourself. I'm just saying. I'm not slut-shaming this woman because she has a right to do whatever she wants to do. It's just the way that she goes about it. It don't seem like somebody that respects themselves. It seems like somebody that's still grieving and bouncing from man to man to man because of how Omarion left her. She may be broken. She may be heartbroken and wanting to, like, you know, figure out a way to get over it. But April has not been somebody that I would classify as a woman who respects herself. I'm sorry, I just can't, not her. Then we have Mendeecees talking to Scrappy, And Scrappy actually lets us know that they used to live in a trap house. And Mama D used to literally have, like, she was pimping out several people, and she would have her kids sleep in her bed because their rooms were being used by the hoes that were in there. And that just break my heart. All right, now, I don't know Mama D's upbringing, but I gotta say that because the way that I see her behave, there has to be something there. Like, there has to be something that she saw, because from what my husband tells me, you don't become a hoe or do some of the stuff unless like, not everybody can do that. He said for you to go out there and sell your body or sell drugs, or you have to have gone through some shit. Like, it's just not something that somebody goes and do because they just need money. Because he was talking to me about how people, how some pimps start pimping people. And he talks about how some of the tactic used to use by the olden days, whatever the case is, of some people, is that they'll try to get the girl to fall in love with him. Then they'll come up with an excuse saying that they need money and that this is the only way that they can get money. And because the girl loves him so much, she'll do it. And if she does it once, it's easy. We can do it the second, third, fourth time. By the time it gets to so many times, he starts whooping her. And I'm just like, why isn't the first thought process in the girl's mind is, if we need money, go work, go get a job? Why is it that the first thought is to sell her body? And he says it's just the way it is. Some people are just built that way because of what they experienced. So for Mama D, I'm not saying this is Mama D's experience, but something has had to have happened for her to get into that profession and have children in the same house and still be cool. I'll be so scared when my baby's in a house with people like that. I'll be scared because I'm like, what could they do? Like, what if they hurt me? What if somebody takes advantage of me and hurts me and my kids are in the other room? It's crazy to me how this is the story that these kids remember. I love me some Mama D. I love her personality. I think she's straight as she is. What you get is what you see is what you get. But damn, these stories that these people are telling, Erica, Scrappy, I'm sure Jock may have some stories like this similar. I don't know. You got Mendici telling this type of story. And I'm just thinking, is this the reason why they behave the way that they do? Because Mendici has, he did a few cheating and had kids. You had Scrappy doing a lot of cheating. You had Mama D bringing the females to him because of her experience. You had Peter Guns had his own experiences too as a child growing up, and it wasn't good. And I see how those experiences kind of shape the way that they are today. They're not, sometimes they weren't being good men. Young Jock has like a whole tribe of worth of kids, with different women. Hell, damn, it's crazy. So I just couldn't, some of these scenes I just couldn't watch. I had to just forward some of them. It was just too hard to hear. Then we had Carly. It's her turn to go ahead and plan the getaway, plan the party. Carly decides to have something called Juve, a Trinidad and Tobago cultural party thing. Basically, she said Juve is like a shout out to what happened in the past, because it's something that they did because the French, who tried to colonize Trinidad, colonized it and enslaved the natives that were there. And this was something that came out of it because they used to walk around painting people, throwing stuff at people, dirtying people because of what happened. So as she's telling the story, I like the history behind it. I did not know. I know that there were a lot of slaves in both Haiti, Trinidad, Jamaica, Europe, a lot of European countries, North America, a whole lot of South America, especially in Brazil. So I knew all this already, but I don't know Trinidad history because I'm not Trinidadian. I guess that's the right word to say. I'm Nigerian, so I know it's easier for me to know my history than that country. So I understand, and I'm also, I'm Black American here, living here and being born here. I also know a lot of this history because these are the environments I'm aware of. Other countries I'm still learning. So that was something that was good to hear. And it makes me want to go do some more research to find out what it is and how they did it and how they got their independence and all that stuff. Then we had Yandy. And as everything was happening, Judy decided that she wants to tell her story about how she's from Guyana. But here's the thing that Judy did. Judy wasn't necessarily trying to tell the story of her history like Carly did. She was also trying to vindicate herself. She wanted to go and tell a story about how she had to walk barefoot and how she and completely negate the stuff that Mendici talked about, because she wants to now talk about how her upbringing affected how she chose to raise Mendici or lack thereof. And while she's giving that spiel, it seemed like Mendici was making jokes about it to Yandy, and Yandy was giggling. And of course, Judy took it as disrespect because I'm speaking and y'all are over there kikiing about when y'all know that I'm about to say something that may make people feel sorry for me about what Mendici said about me earlier. Now, I don't think Yandy's fault for laughing because I saw Mendici whispering in her ear, but I can see how Judy would think that that's rude because I'm talking, trying to be sentimental for whatever reason, and y'all are kikiing, and the Yandy decides to walk away. Now, moving forward, in the next episode, there's supposed to be some crazy shit that happens where April decides that she wants to cry and make a scene. I don't know if anybody gets into a fight. So far, they've been having this kumbaya family reunion moment, so I don't know what the hell is going to happen. Moving on, they didn't really show me much to go with, so hopefully if y'all know, tell me below because I'm not sure. All I do know is that this episodes that have been doing so far, I like it. I like the new Love and Hip Hop look. I hope that they can bring more people here and they can have, when the pandemic is over, this could be like the type of scene that they have while they're going places. Because let's get to know these people more. Let's get to know their experiences more. Let's get to relate it to what's happening in our lives, as opposed to all the little bullshit and fake scenes that we see that we know they're just made up and just a waste of our time. Okay? All right, you guys have a good day. Let me know what you guys think about this video, and let me know if you want me to do Real Housewives, Love After Lockup, Married at First Sight. I think I lost my window, but let me know if you still want me to do it. I'll do it for those of you who want me to do it. If not, then I'll just wait till tomorrow and keep pushing and try to catch up. Okay? All right, you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye.